Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here then hi, my name is Miss Paris and I'm a newly qualified primary school teacher here in the UK. So it is Friday, 28th of May. It is the final, well, I finished the final day of my first term as an NQT. It is currently 5:45. Took me a while to process. That is how long I am tired. That's, oh, you see what I mean? That's how tired I am. But I realised I haven't done a video in 2 weeks, so I thought I would give you a little update while I prepare some maths for the next term. Now my guillotine is so squeaky, so I'm probably just going to count these out, but I just thought it would be nice to kind of have a little update and talk about how everything's been doing. There's been pros and cons to my first term for sure, and there's been highs and lows, but overall I'm enjoying it and I'm just so happy to have my own class. It still feels surreal and still feels really, really wonderful. But yeah, so pros, I would say that I absolutely adore getting to know the children. And I mean, you get to know the children academically, you get to know what they did in the weekend, and oh, you know, my cousin's going to university on Monday, so we're gonna have a pizza and ice cream party Saturday, Sunday, all those kind of little details. But you also get to know really like the ins and outs of their personalities, and you know, you are currently on a pile of books right now as the most makeshift teacher tripod ever, but I'm just looking at one of those books and I know that that's X child's favourite book, and that he loves to open up all the flaps and look at all the words, and I know what book several children fight over, and I know, you know, all of these little details, and you just think, it's like knowing a little village. You know, you're in charge of so many different like characters, and I don't know, sometimes it just doesn't feel real and it feels like some weird kind of Sims thing, but I really do enjoy, you know, all of those kind of things. Another thing that I really like is having a kind of routine. Now I say that this last week has been a trial period for a new timetable that we're doing. We're going to have lunch and snack time later, which makes the afternoons a lot shorter, which is brilliant, but the morning just feels like, I don't know, somehow, which doesn't appear to be logical, it seems like more of a rush. I don't know, but as COVID is kind of coming to an end, we are trying to integrate the years a little bit more, especially on the playground. So yeah, that's all kind of been new. And obviously as it's the end of half term as well, children are always a bit wild, but it's been really nice having that routine. Obviously I had a routine at my last school, but it was very much like teach half an hour, pack everything up, make sure all the books were ready, then go to the next classroom. And it was really tedious, whereas here I have some flexibility. You know, if I don't finish a lesson, then I can either get like a TA to go off with some children, or I could cut another lesson a little bit shorter. Let's say if it's some play-based learning, I can cut that by 10 minutes and have 10 minutes of extra learning for maths, for example, which is lovely to have that flexibility as well as that structure, if that makes any sense. Negatives, well, negatives has been how long I've been staying in school. So this is the last, obviously last day of term, and I'm still here. I had an IPP meeting. I've had to reschedule 3 of mine, and this one took until 4:10, knowing I end with the children at 3. But you know, it was one of those children that I could talk a lot about. So it was good to kind of meet with the parent properly and, you know, go through their goals, go through their targets, and their general progress, which is nice. Other days I've just been staying in late because you can see I'm losing my voice. I've kind of been trying to get through that to-do list that never disappears. It's not a myth, guys. It is 100% true. Just a bit wild, really. And the more you think about how can I make their provision and their education better, or how can I differentiate nearly to every single child, the bigger your list gets, naturally. And I think I need to watch some of my old videos about work-life balance tips and stick to them, because also I do this bad thing that I'm kind of an anxious driver, and the moment I know it hits 5 and it starts to get trafficky, I'm just like, I'd rather stay in here and do constructive things. But once I start those things, I stay until I finish them, and then it ends up being like 6. So there was one day I stayed extra long on Monday, so that I could leave early on Wednesday, and then I forgot it was staff meeting, so that failed. But yeah, these past 3 weeks maybe have been quite bad for that, so I'm going to try and make, you know, an effort. Had an NQT observation. I felt like the pressure, and I don't know if that's just because I have a really nice NQT mentor, but I felt like the pressure was so much smaller than in my training year. Knowing that this time you're newly qualified, I thought it would have been more pressure, like there's an expectation for you to just be good or outstanding, but there wasn't. They were like, I just want to see, you know, how you're doing, what we could maybe work on afterwards. Really, really nice. And I felt like it was probably my most natural performance. You know, sometimes when you're training, you end up either doing things you wouldn't normally do or trying new things out because you think, oh gosh, they're looking at me a bit scarily. Bless her, my NQT mentor was like, I was smiling at you, but I was under a mask, so you didn't see me. I was like, oh, well, thank you anyway. The targets were really, really fair. She mentioned the voice, volume levels in the classroom, which was a fair comment because they were doing a pair work and then I was with some children on the carpet, and I knew they were still on target, but they were being too loud, so I should have addressed that. But then I knew those children on the carpet were kind of a fidgety bunch, so I didn't want to keep interrupting, if that makes sense. But you know, that was a really, really fair target. I should have put some volume expectations on first. So now I'm trying to use that little rota thing, you know, where it says silent work, quiet work, group work, and too noisy. I'm talking a lot about indoor voices versus outdoor voices. And the other big target was challenging the higher ability children. Now I normally do this, but not particularly in phonics, which is what she observed. And normally I do say, with these words, you know, try and put them into your own sentences, because sometimes if they're just rushing, even though they've spent time looking at it or, you know, putting the sound buttons in, all that kind of stuff, they'll still write it incorrectly. So it's a really good challenge, but when she went over there, they didn't know what the challenge was, even though we've been doing that every single day of the week. I was like, oh, come on guys. But you know, it's a fair comment, and I have been trying to, for example, with maths, have some extra challenge cards on the floor for when they're done. We have also been having NQT/RQT maths meetings once a month, which is nice because obviously with bubbles you can't cross them and talk to other staff really, so it was nice to have like a virtual meeting and just talk to them about how they're finding it. Sometimes I find that it can be difficult to link some of the problems or solutions from Key Stage 2 to Key Stage 1, especially when reading is such an obstacle. You know, for example, they're using classroom secrets, and some of the classroom secret challenges are like a paragraph long before it gives you the question, and I just think they'll either not read the question properly, not be able to read the question properly, or not get to the point. So I'm still working on that, but again, that was like a really fair target. Right, I'm going to head out now. I will update you in the car because I know last time I forgot. But yes, still lots to talk about. It's weird because I didn't plan it, so I didn't have thoughts written down, but so much to say. Another thing that I had this term actually was an NQT kind of book look over. I forgot what it was called. So they took some children out for both English and maths, asked them a few questions, looked at their books, and the reason it just sprung to mind is because we got some feedback just before we left. So a lot of it was kind of presentation, and I have been, I'm going to sigh twice because it's that dramatic. I have been going on and on and on and on about mine with presentation. I mean, before they would just kind of stick their pages like that, so it would be all coming out. They would just stick things in the middle of the page, at the bottom of their page. Sometimes they just couldn't be bothered to look through their book and they just go, ta-da, stick. And honestly, I had a girl that missed 10 pages once, but it was one of those like glued lots and lots and it was firmly stuck to the page, so I couldn't even rip it out. Oh, so I'm constantly looking back and forth to where her work is because I could just never find it. So that was one of the main bits of feedback, and I think upon reflecting on this half term, there's a few things that I've wanted to do. I've spoken with my TAs, we're going to start doing classroom jobs, and we're going to start doing kind of, we already have a neatness certificate, but I might try and do some kind of immediate reward incentive specifically for neatness, because obviously they need to wait till the end of the week, and you know, they might do super good work on Monday but not necessarily Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then they might do it again really good on Friday. So it'd be nice for them to have some kind of immediate reward. Yeah, I just need to think about it. It's all these kind of things, especially as an NQT, although you have kind of ideas and banks of tools that have been like growing during your training year, you don't necessarily have those like decades of experience. So yeah, all those are kind of, they're learning curves, but also I think it can sometimes be difficult because you're always taught not to compare, but then when you're kind of put to the same expectations as your fellow year group or other classes, it can be difficult because if your class is just different in terms of like ability and personalities and capabilities, I don't know, it can feel like a never-ending battle sometimes. So lots to think about. This is a very impromptu, random video, but I realised it's nice to film in the classroom, and while it was all fresh in my mind, I probably will collapse once, you know, once I get to actual home. So yes, if you enjoyed this video, then please consider liking and subscribing for more teacher related content. Also, if you ever have video requests, please leave them in the comments below, because then I can just have some resources if I'm ever just completely dumbstruck. I realise I haven't been very active on Instagram either, just because I'm absolutely knackered. Like I said, when I come home, there was one time I came home and it was like 7, and then I had an alarm set to do a COVID lateral flow test at 7:30. I was like, I've barely been in the house for half an hour. So bear with me, you know, it's a big important part of my teacher journey, and you know, I'm just a normal teacher like everybody else. So do be patient with me, but also do consider supporting me, because I do try and make an effort, you know, in terms of editing and filming when I can, when I have the time. So, you know, maybe we'll get to, I don't know, I don't want to set myself a goal because then there's pressure, but if you guys fancy helping me out, maybe let's try and get to 2.5k subscribers by July, maybe? Let's try it. I don't know. If you enjoy or you have ever found any of my content useful, please share it on your social media. Please spread the word, and let's just end the cringiness there. Have a good half term for whenever you see this, and I hope your term has gone well too. See you soon. Bye.